So I've been at the shop a little while. I did find the engine coolant temperature sensor, and I ordered it for a 90. I didn't order it, they had it in stock. I guess it fits a bunch of different Toyotas, but it's the 96 Toyota Supra. The turbo and non-turbo both are the same on the one that plugs into the green plug. The other one, non-turbo and turbo are different. They had one in stock, I don't remember which one it was, but the one I got doesn't fit the other plug, so the other one's ordered, whichever one, which I can figure that out. But the green plug did plug, but it's not reading anything. So I plugged it in, it doesn't seem to be reading anything. I don't know if the other one has to be plugged in as well. I don't know. So I'm waiting on the other one to come in, but I did change that, so that one plug is plugged in now. None of the transmission plugs worked, and it's still not running right. I fooled with the fuel pressure, didn't change anything. So I did order S300 mass airflow, so it's on there. So I ordered a GS300 ECU that should run that should be fine. So yeah, it's coming down to the wire. It's supposed to be cold as crap tonight, like single digits. For Tennessee, that's insane. So I've got to run out to a rental. I've been working at the shop for a while. You can see I'm at the at the shop here. So I do have to run out to the double wide, and I'm going to take a second heater because there's nobody out there and there's no heat besides one small heater. So I'm going to take a second heater out there, and then I'm going to I brought some antifreeze. It's in the trunk, I think. No, it's in the floor. Anyway, I got some antifreeze with me, and what I'll do is I'll take antifreeze and I'll pour it into like the trap of both sinks. Well, all the sinks. There's 1, 2, 3 sinks, kitchen sink, and both bathrooms. So I'll pour some antifreeze in the trap. Even though you can't see the water, it's there. The water heater we have unhooked anyway. The water's off there, but I will flush both toilets, get them, all the water I can out, and I will pour antifreeze in the back and in the bowl of whatever water I can't get out, so that way it won't freeze and bust, because that porcelain will actually freeze and crack. So I have to take that out there, put a second heat source. Just single digits is rare for around here, and so I've got to go out and do that. And the life of doing the rental stuff and trying to work on cars and all that mess. But yeah, the S14 still not running right. I'm not really sure. It may have a injector that's wrong, because I may have mixed matched on a non-VVTI and a VVTI one. I don't know, maybe I've done something wrong there. I will check that, or one of the coils is bad or has one bad side, because I was looking at the 6 exhaust pipes coming off the headers, and I ran it for a little while. So as you count from front to back, so you get to the 4th one, I think it is, 3rd Yeah, fourth one. It's not burn off as much as the other one. So looking at that and it not burn off as much, I almost wonder that either there's not an injector issue or a coil issue on that cylinder. It's a way of, maybe my mind's lying to me, but it's, for that one cylinder to not be burned off like the rest. Actually, the two middle ones are both not burned off like the rest. So it may have a bad coil. We may have, does sound like almost a missing cylinder, but at the same time, it don't sound as bad as when I knew a coil was bad on the other one. It doesn't quite sound that bad. So it might just be one bank of that coil, or it may just be altogether the wrong ECU it's one for the 1J. It may just be that entirely. So I did order the right ECU. I do have the correct, well, I think correct mass airflow. It should work. GS300, IS300, both VVTi, non-turbo motors. Should work. In my mind, what do I know? I'm learning. So I did figure out to order. I sat and looked at the photos of the ECU that I have that actually plugs. It's a 99 GS300, but it's got the security on the side. Well, I looked at another 99 GS300, but it didn't have the security piece on the side, for the ignition switch to, I guess that may have been an option back then. Instead of it being on everything, it may have been just an option. So I did go ahead and order the one without the little black square box that doesn't have the security on it. So hopefully that's the fix. We're gonna find out. So yeah, all right, here we go. Wow, that's a blue picture. Let me make some adjustments on the camera, because wow, that's these blue walls and this lighting is definitely got the color off. All right, hang on, here we go. Okay, so maybe that'll be a little better. I don't know, it's kind of funky looking in this light. What I've got is, Tennessee's not equipped to run, water lines and all that. Everything to code is not set up to be able to deal with 4 degrees outside. So, that being said, I'm having to come out. I don't even know what time it is. It's dark, so it could be 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I don't even know. It's in the evening. I thought they told me the heat was out, so I grabbed up some heaters and ran down here. The heat's not out. So, heat and air can only do what a heat and air can do. So if let's say, for example, right now it's 4 degrees outside. 4. For Tennessee, that's crazy. That's not an every year thing. That's in fact rare. In my lifetime in Tennessee, I've only probably seen that single digits handful of times. Well, your frost line, when it comes to your water, it's like 16, 18 inches deep. Your water line has to be below the frost line. Well, when it gets 4 degrees, yeah, that's not going to freeze underneath the ground, theoretically, but underneath the house, a lot of lines come up, stub up out of the ground, and they go from sinks to bathrooms to whatever underneath the house. Most of the time, they're not insulated. Most of the time. I've got a few rentals now, and I don't know really many of them that are. Well, to combat that, sometimes there's vents underneath the house. You close the vents up so the heat from the house will warm the floor, and that'll keep, underneath the house warm. Doesn't always work that way. If you have a draft or any of that stuff, you leave the water dripping as like a safety blanket for that. Well, they said they left the water dripping. There was no faucet on. None of them were on. I'm not going to say they didn't. They may have turned them off. I don't know. There was none open when I got here. Of course, there was no water in the back of the toilet, and somebody used the toilet, and I guess that's when they decided they're going elsewhere, I guess to their parents' house or something. So I'm down here. I thought he said the heat was out to the house, and I'm like, I need to get some heaters and get down to, make sure, because, at this temperature, the water in the sinks will freeze and bust. So like in the trap, so underneath the sink, and water in your water heater, that will freeze and bust. The water sitting in your water closet, your toilet, that will freeze and bust. That ceramic will bust. You know, any pipes that has water in it will freeze and bust. It's already PVC, so it's probably gonna bust somewhere. My experience, if it's PVC, they're gonna bust. So I'll have a water leak here. So I brought some heaters down thinking that the heat is just out. It's not the case, there's still heat. It may not be keeping up like it should because the houses, to code, the insulation in the attics don't have to be for Arctic temperatures. It has to be however thick. Now you can add extra to make it, you know, whatever, but if this house was built prior to code changing, as it does, code changes, like you build a new house, you have to meet those codes. You know, a house that's 40, 50 years old, it's probably not gonna have all that. So like I say, you know, you leave the water running, usually you survive. It's not the case. Again, I don't want to say it wasn't, but mine's the same scenario at my house. Barely dripping, didn't freeze. It's been that way since early this morning, late last night. So I'm down here with heaters running. I had to pull apart, I'll show you, I had to pull the back of the shower off, and you probably remember this house. This is the one that was so bad that I had. Remember the cabinets, I ended up having to paint all the cabinets and stuff. I'll play with the white balance here and try to get a better view of this. This blue is, and this light is killing it. Let me adjust this. Alright, so maybe that'll change a little bit. Oh yeah, that's way better. I'll try to edit that blue shot best I could. But yeah, there's some blue walls. So here's the cabinets I painted. So if you remember this little house, there's some young kids got it, but you know, it's like my nephew or cousin's kid or something, I don't know. So young, so they've got stuff strode everywhere. It is what it is. But, so I had to come in here, had to pull this open. I'm gonna run some heat out of this little bathroom heater down here. We'll try to run some heat this away. See if we can't combat some of that frozen pipe. So that's what we're working on. It is what it is, you know, you can't predict these things. I did ask them to leave the water running. Now we're brown. And now we're brown. So you can't predict these kind of things. Or something about planning a picnic, but you can't predict the weather or something like that. I don't know. But it is what it is. They're gone. I'll have to hunt a key in my car. I finally figured out which key it was, and I laid them down, and now I don't know which key it is again. I was freezing. My hands were starting to hurt where I was hunting through these water keys I have. I'll show you these water keys. But so either way, you know, I'm dealt the hand. I don't have any tools with me. I grabbed some heaters, ran down just to maybe put on some heat in the house so this stuff doesn't freeze and bust. And I don't have any, yeah, I might actually have something to turn the water off just in case. I may do that, because if it does, the water does thaw out, I would hate for it to leak all in the house. So I may do that. I may go ahead and cut the water off. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to. So that way, if it does thaw out, we're not dealt the hand of, you know, water leaking all through the house if, for whatever reason, if it does that. Because it will split. So PVC, when it freezes, it tends to, you know, swell up. PVC don't swell up. It will, but it won't stay together. So if it swells, it fractures all the way down the length, or it could just put a split. Copper, lots of times, copper will just do like a pop. It like just will cut a, almost looks like you were inside that pipe and you stabbed a knife out, like you were inside and you stabbed outside of it. So it'll do like a little cut. So it looks like you cut it and kind of bend it out. It looks weird. That's the way it generally looks when it does it. PVC, I've had them where PVC will split the entire length of the pipe and then start raining in when it finally freezes up to where it's just water, and the water will start coming in. Luckily this is all under the house. There is some PEX that goes inside. I've got a heater on in the kitchen, so yeah, I may just leave it on in case it doesn't. It shouldn't, with this heater in here in the bathroom and that heater in there, we should be okay. I'll just leave it on. Worst case, if it does leak, it's under the house. It's, you know, captivated under here. Captured, captivated, you know, one or the other. It's going to be under the house. I won't be able to kill it and you know, get under there and do a repair under the house. But with the heater going, if it's not cracked yet, by the time this runs a little while, it's probably not going to. But I just didn't see a faucet on. Which I didn't check the shower. He might have, I don't know. I just know mine didn't freeze, and I'm, you know, I don't know. So anyway, that's part of the being in the rental business that a lot of people don't see, or you're like, oh, this renter won't do this or that, you know. I'm still fighting a heat and air unit. I still have a unit that's down. I'm not a heat and air guy. I sent my heat and air guy. He's busy. It's super cold for this time of year for around here. He's got a lot of work. He's had some personal things he's dealt with, and it's serious stuff, so I'm not going to get into that, but it's you know, I understand it. I get why he's had to take off a little bit, but, you know, I've worked heat and air guys, and for me, like, so having people come do work for you, one of the hardest things I've found is to find a good, dependable, and fair priced heat and air guy. Not saying that, you know, I don't think what they do is worth it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that sometimes I see some of the price gouging that goes into this when I can buy the capacitor at one of the local hardware stores for $6, $8, $12, $15, and they charge $99. They give you a 1-year warranty, but that's got a warranty from whatever. So if they come back out, they'll charge you another fee. Anyway, I'm not getting into all that, but I found a guy that's fair priced. I can sleep at night using this guy. I don't feel like he's ripping me off. It's just with that mindset and with knowing the guy, how stand up the guy is as far as doing the right thing for people and being fair and being good. The guy is really good. He is absolutely swamped when it comes to heat and air business, and it's rightfully so, because I mean, he is, if you check off all the boxes for, you know, somebody you want to work on your home stuff, you know, your AC unit, he's good at what he does. He's super fair priced, and I don't feel like I'm being, you know, overcharged or, you know, treated unfairly, you know, because they know something that I don't know. But having rentals, I don't have that many breakdowns as often, but I've had a couple here lately, especially when it gets super cold, or if it gets super hot. That's when you start paying for it. That's when you start having all your problems. And roofs, I'm gonna have to figure out some roofs too. I think I could do a roof. I'm half tempted to try it, but I'm old and fat, my back hurts. But yeah, just venting a little bit here while I'm sitting here running the heat and trying to figure out what condition I need to leave this house in tonight when I lock the doors, if I can even find the key. Sometimes the rental business is a pain. I may have mentioned that before. So, either way. Alright, here we go.
I'm feeling high.